Ladies and gentlemen, hello, hello, and welcome to a very special episode of Sherm in the Booth. My name is Sherm. You guys are some true Chicagoans for coming out in January. It's snowing outside, it's freezing, and you're at the fucking club at 1 a.m.
Boys with the bass, yeah, boys, bass.
Who am I talking to right now? You're famous.
Free food, free drinks, music, girls. Let's go.
Do you like it? Cool. You don't? Goodbye.
I'm missing the most important part.
Boys with the bass, yeah.
We should throw like a crazy bar mitzvah party.
This is crazy. Send me stems. I finished it.
What's up, guys? How's everyone doing?
Just wait, you know it kicks in like 3 to 5 seconds afterward.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of Sherm in the Booth. I'm, of course, your host, Sherm, and this is episode 247, and guys, we have a great one for you all today. Our guest is Brad Sweet, the co-founder of Same But Different Festival and the co-host of the Different Paths podcast. I've heard some great things about Brad, and he is such a good dude. We had a great time getting into the origins of the festival, Same But Different, and for those that haven't heard of it, you need to. It takes place in Lake Perris, California, just outside of LA and San Diego. It's grown so much since their first run in 2018, and they've had artists like Griz, Polo and Pan, Louis the Child, Big Wild, and What's So Not On, and that's just to name a few. We talked a lot about purpose, community, and longevity, and why these things matter when it comes to music festivals. But that's what makes this festival so different. It's a truly special experience, not just for the fans, but also the artists, and they'll tell you that themselves. We also talked about his podcast called Different Paths, and it explores the stories of creatives and gets deep into their journeys. He's had guests like Mikey Lyon, Mary Droppins, and Raven Scoot on thus far, and I really love the format. Super cool. Now, the 2025 lineup is going to be dropping soon, so make sure to keep an eye out for the announcement. Brad says it's the biggest yet, and as you can tell, they go big, so this will be a very special treat. Thanks so much for making some time to come on, Brad. Now let's get into it right now so you can hear a story for yourselves. This is episode 247 with Brad Sweet. Yeah, absolutely. We're already rolling right now. You're live, baby. You're live. Brad Sweet is on Sherm in the Booth. Here we are.
All right. Well, I'll try to say some good stuff now.
Brad, it is such a pleasure to have you on the podcast. I'm really glad we could connect. I've definitely seen and heard your name and, of course, heard of your festival over the years. You just mentioned you're originally from Chicago, so it's always great to connect with another Chicagoan. But welcome to Sherm in the Booth, man. How's it going?
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be on, and I appreciate you having me on. I'm excited to talk to you.
Yeah, of course. Now, normally people would say that you're a traitor to Chicago, but you moved to San Diego, and I think that that's the equivalent of another amazing city in the U.S. How long have you been there, did you say?
San Diego's great, and I would say it was between here and I feel like the other place that had the vibes I was looking for was Denver, or somewhere out, honestly, anywhere in Colorado. I'm an active person. I like being outside, and San Diego has a lot that you can do outside to just get outdoors year round. And so I love it here. I moved here in 2011. I came here from Arizona, where I was living for 5 years after school. So I went to college in Illinois, Northern Illinois, and then, as you said, grew up there on the north side of Chicago.
Yeah, you got your fill though.
Yep. So, kind of, come from that scene, and then moved out to San Diego, and it was just kind of like that perfect fit for me. I moved to Mission Beach, which is just like this little strip of land in between the bay and the ocean. I was I couldn't even believe it was a real place. It was sight unseen, so I didn't know what I was moving into. I signed a lease and was like, cool, that works. And I drove out with a buddy from Chicago, and that definitely took our time driving, spent a bunch of time in Vegas, and
of course
just had a good time. And then we got out here, and we were like, I don't know what I'm moving into right now. I just heard San Diego is the spot, and I knew a little bit about it, and then landed in paradise, and haven't moved since.
And you shouldn't, man. You shouldn't. I ran into some guy at a donut shop randomly in Encinitas, which is like the bubble of all bubbles in North County up there. And I had like a Chicago hat on or something. He goes, "Oh, you from Chicago?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I've been here 27 years. I haven't thought about going back for a second." And it was like, it's snowing right now in Chicago, by the way, Brad. And you're out there in beautiful weather. But so you had never, I assume you had visited San Diego, but never really like got into the thick of it.
I visited one. I took a random trip down. My brother's in Northern California, so he
Okay.
moved out for like the weirdest, like wildest. I don't. I just always kind of envied that job. I like thought maybe that would be my job one day. His job was to walk the power lines. He's an arborist and a utility line specialist, so he would walk the power lines up in the redwood forest
Dude, what?
and any trees that were going to be like growing into the power lines like within the next 5 years, he would mark with like a little computer that he had, and then a crew would come out within like the next year or whatever and cut it back.
That's
So
sick.
his job, like, you just smoked tons of weed, like had like this like great setup, like living in Humboldt, and walked around, like hiked through the redwood forest as his job. And I was like, this is so like crazy. I didn't even know like you get paid to do this.
Unbelievable.
And so I went and I visited him, and this was, I think I was like, I was probably 20 at the time or 19, something like that.
Still in
And
college,
my
yeah.
cousin was down in San Diego, like on a trip randomly, and I was like, oh, I'll come meet you. So I took a Greyhound from Northern California
Let's
to
go.
San Diego, and then I actually kept going by myself. I went down to Tijuana for a little bit, and
Nice.
that was fun. And it was a really wild trip, but that was like, yeah, I got to see San Diego. I was like, this is amazing. It's a really cool spot. We had a
Yeah.
lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and you mentioned before we went live, you loved being outside and growing up in Chicagoland and going to, you said NIU, Northern Illinois you went to?
Northern Illinois, yeah.
You're only going to get so much of the outdoors here. You know how it goes. And there's a lot of Midwesterners that listen to this podcast. And I think we all have, as I sometimes say, hoop dreams of getting to a warmer climates. And it sounds like it was just meant to be, called your name, and you've been there ever since.
Yeah, yeah. It's would be tough to go back. I tried it actually for like three
Yeah.
months, but
Yeah.
I love Chicago and I visit there a lot. But
Hmm.
I mean, like you said, it's snowing there right now, and I was just outside with my son, like playing soccer in shorts and a t-shirt. So yeah.
Sounds amazing. I love it here. Grit my teeth as I say that from January through April. But we got St. Patrick's in Chicago next weekend. You know that definitely gets old, but it's still always like, okay, we're almost till it gets warmer. That's always the
You know,
sign.
you know what though? I love because Chicago is. I mean, I love all of the people that you meet there.
Yeah, of
First of all, so I
course.
love there. It's a city that you guys have. Like I look at sports and all of that with a lot of envy because you don't really have that out here. Like
Yeah.
there's not like, all right, let's go tailgate and our
No.
team sucks and this is going to be horrible, but let's figure it out together.
Yeah.
Even like getting through winter, my brother actually said it to me. He was like, you know what, I left the house. This is like, whenever it was, I left the house the other day. There was so much snow. My neighbor was stuck. So I helped push him out, and then like kept going. But we hung out for a little while, and then, moved on my way. And then you get through it all, and then spring hits, and it's like the whole city erupts, and it's like, all right, we did it together, and we made it
Exactly.
through. That's kind of a cool feeling.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. I always I grew up in Indiana actually. I've lived in Chicago for almost 10 years now. So it is really funny. Like there's a lot of sports obviously in Indianapolis, but this is like a Chicago Bears city. And based on how the Bears are doing, I feel like is so heavily affected by the energy of the city. Like if the Bears went 1-15, those 15 losses would be sad days. But that one win, they won the Super Bowl, man. You got cab drivers in good mood, bus drivers, baristas, anyone who's working any job in Chicago, and I that is definitely something that attracts me so much. Is the city really has a personality that is made up of the people who really go through it all together, the weather, the highs and lows of sports. But there's so
Yeah.
many reasons to give back, and that's why I've remained here. It's still just such a Midwest vibe.
Yeah, and that was a lot of my I mean my dad was a ticket broker.
Okay.
So he had offices. He had one in Skokie, and then one was at Wrigley, and one down at Soldiers Field.
What was it called?
They all had different names. So one
Okay.
was called North Shore Ticket Connection,
Nice.
and then one was Chicago Tickets.
That works. Yeah.
So
Good
it's
business.
like all just very simple names, and
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, it's funny. It was like back in the day when it was like get yourself placed in the yellow pages with like a big
Of
ad to get called.
course.
But that was a huge piece. I feel like of my childhood is how the Bulls were doing, how the Cubs were doing,
Of course.
and yeah, going down working at Wrigley Field, like scalping tickets.
Yeah, dude.
It's just I don't know. It's a lot of fun. It's the
Yeah.
hustle of things.
Absolutely. Did you have any? Obviously, we have a lot of common interest in music. We'll get into your festival and everything else that you've been doing over the years. But I'm really curious on what led you there. I mean, did you have any like core memories as a fan in Chicago, and then maybe during your college times, like what was it about the live music industry that called you into it?
Yeah, so well, I mean, honestly, I've been playing music my whole life. So
Okay,
I
cool.
played in, I guess out here is when I really started playing in bands that were touring and doing those types of things.
Cool.
So thing that came out of FaceTime. So we were we were touring and playing. So I played in bands and did all that out here. But back in Chicago, I was always into. I guess jam music is kind of like where I started and what I was very into. That I guess my first festival that I went to, I think I was 15 years old, and it was called Summer Camp.
Yeah,
Up
of
in
course.
Skokie. Yeah. So it was we're talking 2001s or 2001 or two. So it was one of their first years. I think it was their second year that they had done it. So it was very small.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I was getting into at all. I literally had no idea. I just heard this band that I liked at the time, Mo, was playing.
Yeah.
And so it was the idea was go out there, and I didn't understand what a festival even was, but my friend could drive, and I was like, all right, I'll go
Yeah.
out there. I don't even think I got a ticket. I think you could like just kind of like walk in at that point. And so went there, we camped out, and it just blew my mind that there was a community like that and just like people like that. And it was just like, I don't, it just honestly, it like set me for life down down this path of like, oh my
Love
God,
it.
these are amazing. I think I went to that festival for like 8 more years in a row.
Mhm.
Right after that, I think like Bonnaroo announced their first year,
Yeah.
and that was like everybody wanted to go to that. So me and a few friends drove down there and got stuck in traffic for like 17 hours trying to like get in there.
What?
It was actually 17 hours. It was wild.
Wow, that's
We
commitment.
left in the car on the highway and had no clue how we were, like we thought we were gonna run out of gas. But there were just so many people like all coming down to this festival. It was crazy. And that was like the other side of things. So it was, this small little like 1,000-person festival. And then all of a sudden too, even in year one, Bonnaroo was like, I don't even know how many people were there. But I mean, we had to walk like it was like 30 or 45 minutes to get back to our camp. So it was like the complete
Damn.
opposite. So it was just, crazy. But I don't know, all those festival experiences out there, and that was more, kind of in the jam scene and the live music scene,
Mhm.
and camping out, uh, really kind of shaped what I loved about festivals. And then I came to California, and I was looking for that, and like in the festivals that I found, there was I guess kind of not what I was looking for. So that's what kind of led to us creating it.
Amazing. And you're the co-founder, correct?
Yes.
So who's the other co-founder? How did you guys meet? Was this in California?
Yeah, so Peter is, and he's still my partner on it. And so him and I played. We actually met. We met at it was an open jam at this club called 710 Beach Club in Pacific Beach.
Nice.
And I showed up there with like keys and started playing. And so then he jumped on, and then this other dude, and they played in they afterwards were like, hey, you're pretty good. Do you want to play in this group that we have? It's called the Mustache Bash Family Band, and we're going to be playing at this big show called the Mustache Bash. I didn't know what any of this was, but the Mustache Bash was this huge. It's a funk '70s disco party.
It still is huge in San Diego, isn't it?
Year here. What was that?
It's still really big in San Diego, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still really big. It's I think coming up at the end of this month actually.
Nice.
And so Pete was a big part of it. And so I ended up playing in that band for like 4 years with them.
Okay.
And it's all like funk '70s cover, like Kool and the Gang, and
yes.
like like that kind of music. It's like
I love that kind of music, dude.
Like everybody, it was all covers, and so they would play. They were like the last act to play before like a headliner would come on. And so everybody was just like turned up, like had been drinking all day. And then all of a sudden you're playing like September or something like that. And like everybody's just like, dancing around, having a blast. So that was a lot of fun to play in. And that's how we met. And then I ended up jumping into another band with him called Moves Collective. And that was like a bluegrass jazz kind of band.
Cool.
And it was, I was like, yeah, I'm not really playing as much as I'd like to. I got time, so I'm looking to, maybe play in another band.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in a couple other bands at that time. And so he was like, hey, we got a tour coming up. Like it was like in like 3 days if you want to jump on and see how you do. So I jumped. We did like one rehearsal, and this band, they were all really good players. So they all came from like Berkeley School of Music. And he would just call out songs on stage. I'd never heard of the song. Like it was songs I didn't know and we had never rehearsed. And there's no sheet. And he was like, "You'll get it, man." And it was like, it was crazy. It was one of the craziest bands. It was a lot of fun. I felt like I learned a ton about music. And
yeah, trial by fire for sure.
Yeah. And so that led to, we did a bunch of tours after that. And with that band, we were playing together for a while, and that's kind of where we started talking about. That's how I met him.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day I texted him, and it was just kind of like one of those nights, and I was like really ambitious, and I was like, I'm looking to do something new, and sometimes you get that feeling. And I texted him, I was like, hey, would you want to start a festival? And that was at a time he had just stopped playing with this girl that was doing a lot of national tours, and she was like, I think I'm going to take it solo. Mm. And he was like, well, what do you, I don't know what to do now. I've just been doing this. And she was like, I don't know, maybe start an event or start a festival or something. I like texted him that same night.
Wow.
And it was really weird, but he texted me back like a minute later. He's like, let's do it. And yeah, that's kind of how it started. And a lot of times those things fit. Like the original goal was maybe we'll just have a small, a smaller type of festival. And
mm-hmm.
I didn't see it being this, what it is at this point at all. This is way bigger than, my sights were ever set on. I was thinking a couple hundred people or, whatever it might be. But that's kind of how it got going.
Well, isn't that kind of the most beautiful thing about when you never had the intentions of it hitting certain numbers? It's like your why, it's your reason. It sounded like you just wanted to do something different to serve a community like yourself. And then when you have that reason and you don't like make a specific goal, like I want to have a 10,000 person festival, you hit that goal and then you're like, oh crap, I should have thought bigger than that. So now I've been thinking in a similar way. Obviously I'm in Chicago. One of my goals is to play Lollapalooza, of course. But that's a specific goal, and I worry if like I hit that goal, I'm gonna not feel fulfilled. So I'd rather have a mission or a mantra to like make an impact on the city of Chicago. So after I'm gone, I will have done that, and I feel like everything else will fall in line. And it sounds like it's a similar idea that you guys had with same but different, to do something different, of course, but have a reason, have a space for people to come and enjoy music. And it got bigger because the people loved it. They were the ones who decided that, right?
Yeah. I agree with that. I really like that, what you said about goals too. And I find that like if you have man, I don't want to say impossible, but like,
Mhm.
like a goal that's just super, like, I don't know how I'm going to do that. Maybe in 20 years.
Yeah, exactly.
But something like that. It's like, all right, well, now I can wake up and work at this every single day
Yeah.
and trying to do it. Um, yeah, the interesting thing is because we wanted to grow, and now we're kind of at the point where I want to cap it actually, because I don't
Wow.
want to grow. I think about festivals that I loved and I now don't like as much. And not saying that they're bad, but they're a different experience than what I
Mhm.
love. So it's me specifically,
Yeah.
totally like a personal thing. But my thing is no longer, having been to both, a small festival where when you walk, past a stage, like you end up seeing people for the third, fourth, fifth time, like you run into people again
Yeah.
and you really form a little bit of community versus, the big ones where it's a whole city,
You're
and
lost. Yeah.
yeah, lost in the crowd. There's so many people. Production is huge, like it's mind blowing, and so there's a lot of pros of those too.
Sure.
And I have a lot of fun at those too. But I don't want this to become that. Yeah. So the big thing that we're doing now is really kind of like capping and saying, okay, we're no longer going to grow past a certain point.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the things that I've heard and that I noticed just from looking at the lineups is you bring back a lot of the same artists. And I've heard that the artist experience is really, really just good, man. And it's obvious because you guys were touring musicians, so you want to make sure that the artists have a good experience. And yeah, big festivals are going to give you the trailers and all that sort of stuff, but I think what artists want is that community that comes to that festival every year. I think you guys had Griz play like 3 years in a row.
Yeah, Griz played twice.
Twice.
And but yeah, no, I like bringing back artists. We want to keep it fresh. It's like
Of
kind of the
course.
balance, of
Yeah.
the introducing new artists to the crowd, and that's a lot of fun. And honestly, my partner Peter is. It's rare you throw out a name to him that he doesn't know and like honestly hasn't seen.
Love
So
that.
he has a lot of acts that he'll just kind of like spit off the top of his tongue that are really really good. And
Wow.
so he's always finding really good talent to bring in and doing that. So he heads that up in a big way. The artists that we have come, like once they come, I think what they do is have a wild time. Like I've talked to a lot of the artists, I've had them on our podcast, they're talking to
Yeah, they're great.
Big G. He was like, dude, this is like our celebration. Like at the end, we have a whole tour. We play Red Rocks and we fly out and we're going same. Like I am looking forward to kicking back.
Yeah.
And
That's so
they
unique,
just have
dude.
fun. Like same with Polo and Pan. Polo and Pan ended up
Hmm.
spinning right after their set. So we had to like kind of they're running around on these motorbikes, like flying around the festival grounds, and then jumped onto. We had like this art car that was it was like a bar art car that our bar company had brought that year.
Sick.
And they set up like this makeshift DJ booth and just like all of the speakers you could find on it. And they rolled around for like 4 a.m. spinning a set. And like people were like, oh, look at they're like, holy shit, that's Polo and Pan playing another set right now. Like art. So that was, yeah, I think they just have fun. There's always wild, sets like I don't know. Dom popped into the Coconut Club late night after their set,
Hmm.
from Big G, and him and Justin J did like a B2B,
So
and
sick.
it was just a party.
Yeah,
It was
dude.
a good times.
That's so unique, Brad. I want to give you your flowers, you and Peter, on that. It's very rare. In fact, I don't even know if I've heard of that, where a festival from an artist experience is so taken back and impressed and feeling welcome because the fans are so happy to be there that they're like they can't go in and out to same. It's not how it's gonna go. They want to be there, want to be part of it, and to have big artists like that that look forward to your guys' festival because they get to be themselves and kick back and not feel like they have all the pressure of performing and just knowing that they get to be themselves because it's not these big festivals with the big production, everything has to be so dialed. They get to go back to the early days, the jam band vibes, where it's like it's okay to make mistakes because the people that have been coming for years are here again and you're with your friends. And that's community, man. That is community. And that's what's most impressive and just dope about same to me.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I think you can feel it in the crowd
Hmm.
that I mean, honestly, I think it starts with the staff. Like our
Okay.
staff is a really, really tight knit group. Like we're going out to camp out at Lake Perris, like I mean, we always do that every single year. And
Yeah.
in the past, we will get campsites at like we just did we went did LIB like as a big we all dressed up as we called ourselves SS same but different R&D, and it was our research and development crew. And so everybody we all wore lab coats and like
Yeah.
glasses and had clipboards, and honestly the notes that we all wrote were hilarious to like read back later. um but but it also came up with like crazy ideas on how we were gonna build things to blow people's minds. But I think staying really tight, and the biggest thing that we've stressed since year one was that, like, the staff just like starting out with a smile and making sure that if somebody just drove 8 hours, and they're in line waiting to get their wristbands, that they feel like, okay, I made it, like, I'm
Yep.
here. And it starts, I think, there. And then that rubs off onto the artists. If the artists are having a good time and they're on stage, and you can feel it if an artist just showed up and they're like, I got to play my set and get out of here
Yeah.
and, catch my flight. And this is just another show.
Yep.
Or if they're like, I'm here, let's do it. This is a special moment in time. I mean, that's kind of what everybody wants to feel a part of.
Yes. I love that you mentioned the staff, because I think that that really is a very underestimated component of any successful event. Venues, festivals, clubs. I mean, a lot of times, right? It's the bouncer that gets a bad rap, or the ticket taker, or the undercover cops, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like the essential parts of a festival. But when I've been at festivals and worked festivals and whatever it is, I really like when those types of communities engage with the staff, because they are sort of the first stop for the real community. Well, everyone's part of the real community, but the people that are coming, the people that the ticket buyers, right? And
Mhm.
that's who you have to serve and make sure they have a good time. And yeah, just from like learning about your story, just briefly, it seems like, you were one of those people that drove really far, the Bonnaroo kid, right? You sat in traffic for a super long time. You got there, you made it, and it's still a story that you tell today. And I think that goes back to what I'm saying. People are going to be coming to the same for 20 years to come. And that's a really, really special thing.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's I think to keep this thing going, it's obviously a lot of work, but it's a
Yeah.
huge passion project.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think with yeah, the staff, when it comes down to it, it's like, I mean, there's so many people that it takes. This is definitely not a industry that's being like replaced by robots.
No, can't.
Like in any capacity for any job that happens, it's a lot of human beings that have to make
Yeah.
that all work. And yeah, and we ask a lot of them too. I mean, all of these festivals, our staff needs to show up, Sunday or Monday beforehand, sometimes even before that. And it's a camp out. There's obviously some of us are in RVs and like, trying to be as comfortable as possible,
Yeah.
and then get through the festival, and it's very little sleep. And then we got to clean up the whole place afterwards.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a lot. Everybody's kind of doing their best. There's a lot of behind the scenes there.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing I wanted to ask you about, which is really unique, and I applaud you guys for, is the no hidden fees. You guys make it very clear on your guys' website, on your marketing, and I think that goes back into our conversation about your mission to serve the consistent ticket buyers. So can you explain to me how you guys came up with that? Why do you think that that is a new thing in the industry, when it's definitely come up a lot, but why haven't more people adapted to it?
Um, I don't totally know from other people's perspectives. Maybe just it's kind of like the way it's been.
Yeah.
But I do know that our biggest goal for this year is transparency.
Okay.
And so letting people in a little bit more on what is happening and why it's happening. For instance, we just announced we had to change dates again.
Okay.
And so like without, dropping, I guess, names, a really large, like well-funded festival came to the site where we're at and then said that they were going to hold their festival on our dates. And so we were kind of forced to move dates and from when we normally have it. And then we just found out kind of through the grapevine that festival actually was not moving. Like they changed their mind and they didn't sign the contract with the property, and they moved actually to our same dates, just like kind of down the road. And so, and then, there's like radius clauses and things on the back end to keep us from being, so we were kind of forced to move back. And we were like, you know what, like rather than just being like, all right, we're moving dates again, because we already had announced, hey, we're moving dates. We were like, let's be transparent on this, because that's part of our goals. And we are like, let's tell people exactly, like, here's what happened, here's why we're moving. And like, I think it makes a little more sense, rather than kind of, I think festivals a lot have just had a curtain.
Yes.
And, you kind of don't know what's exactly happening behind the scenes. And we've had some of those moments where we're like, let's maybe not, we'll just keep this under wraps and not, say exactly what's happening and why. There's, always good reasons why we're doing things. I like to hope, or we're doing the best we can. Sometimes it's bad and stupid reasons, but if we are doing things like that, that's the idea. We're trying to bring more transparency to kind of, each thing that we're doing with with our fans. I think one of those things that we're going to announce soon, once we just need to finalize it, but exactly what our tier prices are going to be. So I think another thing that people really seem to hate right now is like surge pricing that is going on with concerts and with tickets. And I think that it's punishing fans for, honestly, that are like big fans of an artist. I don't think the artists really like it either. And I know that there's like marketing tactics, to really make it seem like, okay, this is selling out, or this tier is going to, bump. I don't know what it's going to bump to. And we were kind of like, let's just lay it out there really clear as day. And so we're going to do that, here's what our tiers are, here's when they're bumping. Just put it down. There's only going to be 3 tiers. There's not going to be like, 10 tiers or
early bird, pre-sale. Yeah,
where it's like, all right, we're in tier 12 going to 13, but just lay it out. Okay, there's 3 tiers, they bump, they're going to be big bumps, and here's when it comes. So you can be prepared. Buy now, don't buy now. Here's what it is. But allowing people to kind of make informed decisions, and just kind of feels right. It doesn't feel so I guess, behind the scenes.
Yeah, for sure. You're letting people into the room where it happens. And I think that just goes right back into the community that you guys have. Yeah, I even saw you said on the website, there's 750 tier 1 tickets, which is not a lot. How many people go to the festival per day, or a total over the course?
No, there's 7,500 total tickets now is where we're going to cap.
Okay.
So we're going to cap at that. So that would be the total number that we're going to have.
Yeah, that's a tiny amount. No, I've never seen a festival or anything like this tell people exactly how many tickets are in the first tier. That's always a very hidden part, from people who throw events. It's like, okay, we're going to have 10 early bird tickets, right? To show that we're trying to create a call to action. It's selling out. Got to get people to buy tickets. Like these days, man, consumers, we don't want to be tricked anymore. It's a hard enough life with the economy and people's expenses, and the music industry is more expensive than ever. It's hard to throw festivals and be a touring artist, and to just get on the same page about that sort of stuff with fans, the people who we need to engage with the most. That's different, man. That's different.
Yeah, I've seen it, and with artists too, and I think that it goes a long way. And it's kind of just, I guess, when you think about like where society's at right now, and like with social media, and I mean, people are just getting a further glimpse into everything, more than ever.
Yeah.
And I think people are responding to real, and the more real somebody is being, and just truthful and honest, whether that's a company or, whatever, I think people are really seeing through bullshit. A lot more too.
They are. It's crazy to think how long social media has been around for our generation, and I totally agree. I feel like I'm in this period right now where I've been making content for 10 years. This is episode 249 of this podcast, dude. I've been doing this for almost 9 years.
Yeah.
And right now I've hit not a crossroads, but maybe like a cornerstone moment where it's like, what am I putting out now? Because I'm in a position where I've been in the industry, I know people, I make music, I've got connections, podcasts, whatever. What am I doing with all this stuff? What's the point of all this stuff that I've been working towards? And I've always, underneath it all, been myself, but to the outside eye, felt like I had to play the game of having a reel where it's engaging and controversial, or like you're posting content that people are going to share, and like that stuff's all important. Yes, of course. But
Hmm.
I'm trying to build a fan base with people that are going to appreciate me for me. And when I start doing that stuff, I immediately don't feel like myself, and I think people can see through that shit more than ever. So, you know what? I'm just going to go back to having fun with content, doing it the way that I like to do it in a professional way, but not playing the Instagram algorithm game, because that's just not me. And the people who are going to find me, I hope to get in front of in person, the real way we like to build fans, in my opinion. Because, I'm sure you've experienced this, right? Like, there might be a Spotify artist who has 1 million monthly listeners, but they cannot sell 10 tickets to a hometown show. So it's
Hmm.
like, what's the point? What are they trying to do? Are they trying to be a touring artist? Are they trying to be a Spotify streamer? Like, you got
Hmm.
to make sure that you're dialed into the real reasons about this stuff. And that's what this podcast is for me, Brad. Not to go off on a soapbox here, but um, that's what this podcast is to me, man. It matters to me. I love having these conversations, and the people that want to listen to these conversations and learn, then I'm grateful for that. And I think, yeah, to your point, that's what we're seeing in social media and from artists these days. We see through the BS very, very quickly.
Yeah, I think it's cool that I think anybody doing a podcast, like you are going to have, I mean, it's going to live on forever, and it's long form content
Yes,
of
sir.
you and conversations that you've had. I'm sure yeah, we're doing a podcast
I
for
love
the
it. I was
same
just
reason.
about to bring it up.
Yeah, we're new into it. Just kind of started it last year, but I want to do it for the same reason. I just enjoy talking with people and having good conversations, and getting to know people is
Go,
fun
man.
for me. And then one day, who knows? Like my kids can look back and say, "Oh, this here's some stupid stuff that Dad did one day."
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. You're my grandpa, my great grandpa, all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. And that's what the podcast is for me, too. And I really love what you guys are doing with different paths. It's very cool. I've had Mary Droppins on my podcast as well. Alyssa is like one of the dopest chicks out there, one of the dopest artists. Hey,
Say hi.
what's your name?
Oh, yeah, he's out. He had help opening up his fruit snacks.
I love that. Yeah, I've watched a few episodes. I saw the one with Paul Ravenscoon, who's such a good guy too. Really incredible story. I interviewed him at a festival too. But yeah, tell me more about different paths and why you guys just decided to start doing it, because it is definitely a unique arm of a festival to actually have like a dedicated, not at the festival interview.
Yeah, I think I mean part of it was to just talk with people and get to know the artist a little bit better. I think that it's always I mean as an artist I'm sure like you just have the same feeling. It's like there's just such a wild road that it takes to get there. And when I talk with a lot of if I talk with friends that maybe um are like they're not artists, or they're not musicians or anything along those lines, they're just kind
Yeah.
of like mind blown when you tell any stories about kind of like what that life is like, or
Hmm.
what that road is like, or how hard it is. And it's like I don't even know how I would start, or how that would even like go about. So to talk to artists, I just think is crazy, especially when different paths. A big thing is kind of focusing in on like, when did you make that jump of like, now you're just a touring artist, that's all you're doing right now. And like that's what's been a while. That moment is always kind of interesting to me, to hear from people, and just kind of like what the road is like. So that's a huge piece of it. I think that introduces our audience to all of the artists that are playing a lot better as well. Lets them get an idea of who we're going to be having out, and understand who they are as a person. I mean, that just gets you more into the fold of that artist in general.
Yeah.
And then it's just a way for us also to have a voice, I think, at times when we might need it, to be able to interview like the head of we call it the Creators Club.
Yeah.
Kind of like, I would almost say it's like our version of Imagineers.
Okay.
It's about 100+ strong of people at this point, but they're builders and just have wild imaginations, and it's groups of clowns and people that are like they've created like Grandma's House at our festival, and what we call the Butt Stage, which is always has a different theme. Like last year was Vegas, and they built out a casino.
Wow.
Speakeasy and a burlesque show, and like this, they just go wild with imagination. They built the whole Vegas like strip out of it. Yeah, it was like you walk under this light show. They do crazy stuff. This year, that's unannounced still, but we're going to announce the theme soon. But they change themes every single year, which is just pain in the butt for me to follow, and there's so much random wild stuff in storage. But to be able to highlight the head of that, and he's just totally like visionary, and some of those people as well, I think is really cool too.
Yeah, I love that. And honestly, talking to people like you, Brad, but behind the scenes are some of my favorite people to talk to. Managers, agents, festival curators, all that sort of stuff. You guys are really the lifeblood of the industry, with really no gratitude from the outside world. I mean, I'm sure people know who Brad Sweet is, of course, but I think that's one of the reasons I too, on the back end, like with the podcast, love highlighting people like you. And actually, just last year, I started a music conference in Chicago called Chicago Music Nexus, and started with my partner Olivia Mancuso, another podcaster here in Chicago. And it was just so cool because we knew that there was a big void for artists to connect with people behind the scenes, because it really is hard to, because they're hard to find, or you don't know who they are. But it's not that the behind the scenes people don't want to engage, but we wanted to get everybody in a room together in an intimate setting, 150 people, to learn, do panels, collaborate, network, walk out of there knowing that what they're doing makes sense. They're not alone. And the coolest part was 40% of people came from outside Chicago, all across the country. And this year we're doing it again, a little bit bigger. And it's that sort of stuff that I feel like can be hard to highlight, because you think an artist is someone who releases music and performs. But there's so much more than that, and there's so much more to it than that. So I agree. A podcast is a great way to give these people the opportunity to talk about that stuff. And I love what you guys are doing with it.
Yeah, and that's cool what you guys are doing too. And I think I actually talked with Olivia about that. And so
that's right. Duh. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are doing it again. It's a year by year thing, right?
Yep. November. Yep. You should come if you can. It's right before Thanksgiving if you're in town.
Awesome. And is the goal there to continue building that and really create that into a big music conference, right?
Absolutely, man. Winter Music Conference is finally back this year in Miami for the first time in 6 years. But I was heavily inspired after Amsterdam Dance Event in 2022 and 2023. And there's so many independent artists out there now. Just after COVID, a lot of people entered the industry without much guidance on the business side, and certainly the creative side as well. And there are so many talented people in the world that I believe should be given the chance to get their music out there, but you do have to know a lot of other things other than just the creation. So that's our goal. And this year it's going to be about 200 people. So we're scaling, but we're really excited. The people that we're going to have coming, and the sponsorships. It's crazy to build something like this, Brad. You're like taking chances. You're like, is this going to work? You're putting your own money into it. You're like, oh my God, look, we're really doing this. But after the first year, there's some validation because people say thank you. I mean, was it similar like that for you guys? And after the first year, same?
Yeah. No, I know that feeling that you're describing very well. And it's
unsettling.
it's stressful because I mean, something that maybe not everybody knows, but I mean, at the end of the day, what um, any event is definitely a gamble,
Yeah.
because you're putting money up. Hard money needs to be put up first, and then you are counting on ticket sales to fund this. And if tickets don't sell, it doesn't matter because you still have to pay for it.
Yep.
And so yeah, there's stress, and that's very real, especially because a lot of people wait till last minute to buy.
Yeah.
So I think that's one message. I don't think you can change people's buying behavior, but if you do want to support festivals or any event, yeah, buying early is definitely the way to show support, because then they know, all right, people are coming, don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think though after year one, the number one, like people were coming up, and it was right after the event, and then long weeks after, and then months after, as I would meet people, and it was really small. So year one was 400 people. It was not a huge event, but we got to really see a lot of people have a really good time. People met their partners there,
Oh,
and
awesome.
when they tell those stories, that was kind of cool. Just to kind of just to hear that and to feel like we pulled it off, because we had a really small team. So and both myself and my partner booked our separate bands to play the fest that year. So we had almost nobody running any, like my partner was stage managing both stages, and he was all of AR.
God.
I think my like yeah, I don't even know. Like we had it was just a few friends. Like my mom was doing all the food. I like put her, she was in the kitchen, there's like a little kitchen thing that was set up there, and she was like, this like the stove not even working. I was like, I don't know. Like then maybe we don't eat. I have no idea. And like it was just pure chaos.
Yeah.
And so we got done with it, and it was like, I don't know if I ever want to do that again, but they were like, all right, that was really awesome though. And like people were really moved by it, and they were like, this was like, this is something that you need to keep doing. And yeah, so that's kind of what happened.
Same experience here, dude. My mom was in the kitchen with Olivia's husband, Freddie, cutting up fruit, creating the charcuterie display. We're calling upon favors of people because we're just trying to start something that we think matters. And people buy tickets last minute, everything worked out. And it is a grind. What are like some of the things from the first year, whether it's the experience or like how you rolled something out that you still do today, like that you'll always make sure that like is a core component of same, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is okay. So my big belief, and it's paid off in dividends with this festival, and it has hurt us if I've gone against this.
Okay.
Is organic. So grow organically,
Yeah.
and let the festival kind of like define itself.
Okay.
And so what any time that we've tried to push it in whatever direction we thought that it um, needs to be or grow to, or anything like that, it has come back really to bite us. Anytime that we just kind of let things happen that like feel like they need to happen, and let like a lot of the audience that come are like really creative people that have really good ideas, and if they throw out a really good idea, it's like, let's roll with it.
Yeah.
So we moved, we had like a big one of those like stretch tents in year one. It was 60 foot by 40 foot or whatever, and we had speakers under it.
Yeah.
And we had placed it up in the grass somewhere. And somebody came up to me and was like, hey, it's going to be a full moon tonight. Do you mind if I move this whole tent onto the beach? And we put the speakers down there in the stage, and we could throw a party like past the hours of the stages, and just keep going through the night. And I was like, I don't care. That sounds good to me. Like, sounds like and we have no noise restrictions because we're in the middle of a park. We're not near anybody. So we were like, yeah, go, have fun. And that became like the Coconut Club, and that ended. I mean, that's a huge stage now, and that goes late night, deep into the night. And so the full moon beach party, we've happened to just throw our event on like 4 years when there was a full moon on like the Saturday night. So
Oh,
we've done a bunch of those. The butt stage that I mentioned, that was born out of year one because we had the same stage and the different stage, and somebody was like, "Where's the butt stage?" And because it's same thing, but different. And so he just set up a bunch of amps and speakers out in the forest, and a bunch of the musicians actually that played on stage ended up jamming up there in the campgrounds late. And so we, put that on the map for, a future year and kept that going. So
yeah.
yeah, there's been a lot of those things that even out of year one we've kept.
You just let the people kind of run the show almost. You're just there to guide.
If somebody wants to take it and make something cool, yeah, all about it. And we started with just 2 stages that ran AB for our stages, the same stage and the different stage. And as many I mean, we now have 7 stages at the festival. As many stages as there are during the day, and breakout late night. When it comes to like, all right, 5:30 rolls around, it just goes AB, main stages, and you have the same stage and then the different stage, and everybody has to walk from the same stage over to the different stage, watch the next act.
Yeah.
And we get kind of thrown. You don't just sit at one stage for the entire night. You walk, maybe meet people along the walk, or sitting next to new people, and then you walk back. You go to the next act that's at the next thing, and everybody kind of moves together with the festival.
Oh,
So
that's so cool.
Yeah, that's another big thing that we kept.
I feel like I gotta come out to this festival, man. It sounds incredible. What are the confirmed dates for this year then?
Hey, hold on 1 second.
But
Alden, can you get out for 1 second? I'm just gonna finish up.
Okay.
All right. I love you, bud.
almost done. He's cute, man. How old is he?
He's 5.
That's amazing. Yeah, how many kids you say you have? 1 or 2?
No, just him. Yeah,
Just
just
him.
one.
Please have those
Yeah.
gummies.
Go ahead. Wait. Yeah, when I come out, okay?
Okay.
All right, bud.
I want to play Minecraft.
All right. He's playing Minecraft.
Exciting. I get it.
The dates this year, so it's going to be the 26th through the 28th of September.
Amazing. And when does the lineup drop then?
Lineup is going to drop in May, early May.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And tickets are available already?
What?
Tickets are available now?
Tickets aren't. So we go on sale so a day after the festival's done, we do what's called the community tier to anybody that came to the festival.
Yeah.
And so a huge majority of our tickets sell there. So we've already sold a ton for this year.
Oh my
But
God. That's
we
amazing.
cut that off until we put out the lineup again. But people can sign up for our wait list right now, which kind of, it's like a no risk way to just kind of, like, you put in your card and all of that. Once it drops, you get fulfilled automatically.
Mhm.
And that's been really easy for people. So we have a lot of people that are just kind of chilling on the wait list. So once we put out the lineup, we'll fulfill all those.
Yeah.
And it kind of beats having to wait for the lineup to drop and do all that.
For sure. Wow. Damn. I bet you guys got it stacked this year. How excited are you?
The lineup this year is my favorite that we've had. Like it's really tight. And it's we've gone big. So I'm excited for it. I think it like fits right in with who we've had in the past.
Mhm.
And then it's built out pretty well. Like as we start going, we're still booking and building it out as right now.
Of course. I know how it goes, man. That is so exciting though, Brad. And this will be how many years of same?
This is gonna be year 7.
Year 7.
Yeah.
Man. And if there's one thing you could tell yourself if you're going back to year 1, what would it be?
Oh man, would I still do it? Probably. I don't know.
Just stop now.
No, it's funny. It's the most fulfilling thing I've ever. Yeah, I mean, this is big. What I built, and it's really cool. And it's it's completely wild. I would say the one thing that I would tell myself is to just like I said about that organic
Mm-hmm.
thing, to just let this grow. Don't try to force it one way. Don't try to force it another, and just kind of like be patient with it.
I think that's a great piece of advice for anyone who's throwing a festival or being an artist is let it happen naturally because it's a long road with a lot of ups and downs and sometimes a lot more downs. But it is those
Yeah.
moments that we work towards the fulfilling moments. And I'm glad you put it like that because that's how I look at a lot of things that I do is you want to give, how are you going to give and what's the best way to do that? And a lot of times you get it back in ways that you could never imagine. And that's the most beautiful part of it all.
Yeah, I would agree with that too, especially with artists. I know, like, I'm friends with um plenty, and like when they've been like, all right, I found a way I can buy, I can get like a bunch of Spotify plays, or I can, get this or get that and spend a good amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm really on the other side of it, and we're booking, it's like, well, that's not clear. It's really quick to see through those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all kind of vanity. And it's, I guess at the end of the day, it's like, well, this person has not really done all the work. They're not touring, they're not selling tickets. I can't see sold out shows near me or anything along
Yep.
those lines. That is, it's the only way to do that is to do it, and it takes time, and that's just the grind of it all. But if you love it, then yeah, then it's a lot of fun.
That's what I'm doing this year, man. Last year I toured a lot, played a lot of support shows, had some headline shows, and that was amazing. But this year I'm really putting the pressure on myself to go play in cities where I believe I have communities. I'm doing, I just announced today a headline show in Indianapolis where I'm from. I've never done that before. It's
Cool.
like not that much of a scene there, but I know there is a scene there, and I want to see like, okay, can I be the guy to be the DJ who comes on and can sell out shows? Of course, Chicago. I'm doing one in Denver. Gonna do one in Phoenix, and it's scary, right? Because you're putting all the pressure on yourself. It's easy enough to be support for an artist who sells out shows, but people aren't exactly there for you. They're there for the headliner. So how do you take a step back to take 10 steps forward? So I know exactly what you mean, and I'm trying it this year. And I don't want to be a vanity artist. I want to be someone who's got fans and got a community, and that's fulfillment to me. That's what I'm working towards, man.
Yeah, well, you're not you got a lot of good things going, so congrats on that,
Thanks,
and good
Brad.
luck, and congrats on those tour dates.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it's gonna be an exciting year. And yeah, we'll see. I'm just having fun, having as much fun as I can. And it's not that hard when you're surrounded by the people that we surround ourselves by, that's for sure.
Yeah, awesome.
Amazing. Brad, this was so much fun. Thanks for taking some time. You should probably go play Minecraft with your son before he starts jumping on your back. There he is. I had so much fun chatting with you, man. We'll be in touch soon.
All right. Thank you very much. Good talking with you too.
Have a good one, brother. Nice to meet you. Hey, what's up? And thanks for watching that video. You looking for more content now? I got your back. Go to my YouTube channel right now, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you turn on all notifications so you never miss any upcoming exclusive artist interviews, Sherman the Booth clips, new music, live sets, and more. This is your one-stop shop for everything electronic music. Cheers.